teleconference with coaches. Today's thing will start at 2:05 Eastern Time, 11:05 on the Pacific Coast with Tom Izzo from Michigan State, following with Jim Christian from Boston College, Marty Simmons from Evansville, Leon Rice from Boise State, Kerry Keating from Santa Clara, Russell Turner from UC Irvine, Sean Miller from Arizona, and Ed Cooley from Providence. Again, the opening day for the DirecTV Wooden Legacy will be at Cal State Fullerton on Thanksgiving. First game at 1 p.m. will be UC Irvine versus Boise State, followed by Boston College, Michigan State. In the evening at 6 p.m., Evansville, Providence, followed by Santa Clara, Arizona. Again, a reminder, the first 2 days of the DirecTV Wooden Legacy are played at Cal State Fullerton, and that's at Titan Gym. That's November 26th, 27th. Championship Sunday will be November 29th at the Honda Center in Anaheim. So we're just checking, is Coach Izzo on the line yet? Again, there's preliminary ticket sales have gone very well for the tournament. They're within 200 of selling out all the all-session tickets. They'll still have single game tickets available at both Titan Gym and Honda Center, but right now they're within 200 of selling out the all-session tournament tickets. Again, is Coach Izzo on the line? Got a couple minutes here. He was scheduled to start at 2:05. And as I say, within 2 hours after the teleconference, we'll have transcripts available on the website along with e-blasting. I will open with general questions to the coaches. Then we will make the coaches available for questions from the floor. Coach Izzo, are you on the line? And right now we have 1 more minute according to my clock. Coach Izzo?
Hold, please.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Coach, Tim Simmons with the DirecTV Wooden Legacy. Thank you for joining us today.
No problem.
Coach, just give us a general synopsis of how the preseason's gone and with a couple exhibition games under your belt.
Well, we're still undefeated, so that's the good news, but not sure the competition's been what it needs to be yet. And but we've had it's been pretty good. I mean, it's been gotten a lot done. We've got a few injuries, but in general, I think we had the Italian trip, and then we come back, and I think between the two things, we're doing good right now. We're excited to get started tomorrow night, and then get out to California, some warm weather in a couple weeks.
Coach, talk about who are your top players this year. Obviously, going to the Final Four and Valentine having such a super one, but who else on the Spartan lineup can we figure out to be top players?
Well, I think Valentine definitely is our star this year, but Brent Forbes has shot the ball very well recently, and Aaron Harris, the kid who transferred in, that's come on a little slow, but I expect big things out of him. And Matt Costello has been a lot more steady this year than maybe he was last year as a center, as a big kid. And I think the two freshmen to watch shooting than last year. Whether we'll be as good defensively and rebounding is yet to be seen.
Coach, I know this is a tough one to answer right now because you got 4 games before you play Boston College. But any thoughts on Boston College?
Well, I know Jimmy, another coach, and one of my former assistants, Dan Heath, is there, and he was here when we won the national championship, so he'll have a little edge in that respect. But knowing what kind of coaches they got out there, I know they're going to be, much improved, I think, from last year, and I think going to be very competitive, as you say, just because the nature of the beast, and we don't play for 4 or 5 games. I haven't been able to set my sights on that yet, but I think in general, when you look at the whole tournament, it's a sneaky tournament with some very good teams that maybe some of them don't have the household recognition, but you look at Irvine and Boise and teams like that too. You're talking about teams that have been in NCAA tournaments, and I think it's going to be a very, very good tournament.
Coach, you're starting your 21st season at Michigan State. Have you seen this many rule changes in one season?
No, I haven't. There's a lot of rule changes. All those are effectively run will be the key. A lot of times there's rule changes, but especially physical nature in the post or this or that. I'm anxious to see the timeout thing, what that does. I'm anxious to see what moving the line out does. Hopefully it takes away a lot of those fake charges that I think our game has become a big part of. But, it's going to be interesting with the shot clock going down a little bit, the no 5-second call, and maybe the big one is, what happens in that backcourt. Now if you goes out of bounds or that, you don't get a new 10. I think that's going to be interesting. And there'll be adjustments. I don't think they're major, but there'll be adjustments. And I think the 35 to 30, we played a 24-second shot clock over in Italy and just have a lot of problems. But I think if you get ahead by a lot or behind by a lot, it could make a difference in those kind of games.
Coach, you're used to the ESPN tournament, in-season tournaments formats. Do you like having playing 2 games a day off to prepare for the final day?
Well, it is nice. I think it's nice for the players. 3 games in 3 days is a grind, and it's a grind, especially if you're in decent places. You don't get a chance to even enjoy any of it. Not that you do a lot in these kind of tournaments, but I think we will a little bit. And I think it's healthier, to be honest with you. It gives you a little break in between those 2 games, especially early in the season. So, I'm looking forward to the format. I think everything about it will be good. You still got to win games.
Coach, I should have asked this earlier, but has anything surprised you about your team prior to the in the preseason practices in those games? Anything that's been interesting?
Well, not a lot of new things, and again, I think it helped that we went to Europe in August, and so we kind of ironed out some bugs there. And I'd say the biggest question marks I have is will we defend and rebound. I've got a strong theory that great shooters are usually not great defenders, and we've got more shooters, so I'm hoping we don't lose our defensive tenacity and our rebounding ability, because I think this is a very athletic team that could run very well, but if you're not defending and rebounding, you're not going to run very well. So, I don't think anything has been glaring yet. We would like to have Marvin Clark back, who we thought would start at power forward. He won't be. He might be back right around the tournament. That'll be yet to be seen, and so that would definitely be a big help to us too.
Do we have any questions from the floor for Tom Izzo from Michigan State? A question for Coach Izzo?
I have one.
Go ahead. And just identify yourself.
Sure. I'm at Adam Biggers, today'sU.com. You've mentioned in the past, I know that you expect a lot more out of Bryn, and, with him being the summer MVP, and he's scored well so far. Other than Bryn, maybe there's another guy, Deontay. Are you expecting? You mentioned you want him to play a little bit harder, but I mean, there's a tournament that maybe can help him grow a little bit.
Well, I think Deontay and Aaron Harris would be two guys that, I think tournaments like this can be good for. You're going to get good competition. You're going to play, almost back-to-back days. So it's going to give them a chance one way or another. And I think both those guys, Deontay's got incredible skills, and Aaron has performed not only at West Virginia, but even here last year. He struggled a little bit shooting the ball lately in the first two exhibition games, but I think that'll come. We played a lot of people in those games, so it really wasn't great for any continuity, and I did it on purpose because I wanted to see how many players. I wanted to give them a chance to compete, determine the playing time themselves, and I think we did some of that, and I think it'll be smoother now as we go. So those two guys is who I'd be looking for to step up a notch.
Another question for Coach. Oh. And is there another question for Coach Izzo?
I do have a follow-up, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
Tom, in the event that you guys do meet Arizona, I know they have a 7-footer in Tarczewski. Is that a game that you look at that might be able, going back to Deontay and maybe even Aaron, fast-paced team, they got a big man that can compete well with Deontay. Is that a game that might be a measuring stick?
Well, potentially it's so hard to look forward that far forward, especially when I look at some of the teams, and I think that we've got a lot of changes we've made. So, but if, the good thing about the way we've scheduled every year, we played Boise before. They're a very good team, and Irvin's got a 7-6 guy, I think. So there's some. It's good to play against people like you wouldn't play against during the year. That's why I've always loved to schedule maybe a team from each conference, and now you get an ACC team, you get an ACC, you get a Pac-10 team, you get somebody from Boise's conference, which, as I said, we put them at home. They were very good, and I think anytime you play against good competition, it helps you in the long run, and especially when it's different competition, different than maybe your own conference or something. That's why we've scheduled like we have, and this will lend to that perfectly.
Again, any other questions for Coach Izzo?
I do.
Go ahead.
Jason Burgess, College Hoops Haven. Coach, with your perimeter players likely to be the focal point of opposing defenses, talk about what that means for the likes of Matt Costello.
Well, you hope that Costello's to the point where he's really improved on his right and left hand jump hook. He's shooting the ball better. It's where Matt's had a little problem is keeping his balance and everything down in the post. But I think it could open things up for him if we're a better shooting team. Even Tum Tum, our point guard, is shot better. There's times we may go with Valentine, Harris, and Forbes and have three very good shooters in the perimeter. Anytime you do that, it opens things up inside, and I think that's the benefit to the inside players. It's one of those what's what you wish for, though. If you have those openings, then you better perform. And I do think Matt has improved a lot, and hopefully that, as we get better balance and we get to understand our team a little better, those things will help, whether they take away our inside game or our outside game. The others got to adjust.
Coach, one last question. You're playing in a tournament that has John Wooden's name on it. Is that anything special for you?
Well, it definitely is. I've gotten a chance to know his daughter, and I've been out there a couple times for the Wooden Awards, and of course, like every Midwest guy, you're a young coach. I mean, that's all you thought of was John Wooden. I worked for Judd Heathcote, who knew John and played against John, and so the respect that I have for John Wooden, anything he's associated with, is insurmountable. I mean, it's first class. It's the way it is, and so being able to play in a tournament with his name on it, for me and for Michigan State, is great to get out the West Coast and maybe see Magic and some of our other alums and get a lot of them to the game is going to be great. And we're just looking forward to the tournament, and yet we've got a few games before. We'll home in on that and see if we can bring a good team up to see you guys.
Okay, we'll just last call. all. Last question for the coach. If not, Coach, thank you very much for taking time today. Good luck in your 4 games, and we'll see you the night before Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is Jim Christian on the line from Boston College?
Yes.
Coach Christian, thank you very much. Worked with you last year here in Puerto Rico, where I am now. So you're going to be in a different venue this year. How's things going for the Eagles?
Things are going very well. We've got an interesting team because we're very experienced at the 1 and the 5. We have your guys who start for us. Eli Carter starts for us at the point, and Dennis Clifford, a 5th-year senior, starts at the center. And pretty much the rest of our team is predominantly freshmen, so it's kind of a unique team. With we have 6 freshmen in our freshman class and 8 total players who when we play this Saturday to open up our season, we play college basketball for that first time. So it's kind of a unique group.
Coach, obviously you got a big test in the first match in the Wooden Legacy against Michigan State. Knowing that you have games prior to that, have you had any thoughts about the Spartans?
Well, obviously with our team, it's day to day. I'm trying to get them ready. We play Saturday, and so it's really a lot of our thoughts are there. But I have so much respect. Coaching a lot of my career in the Midwest, and knowing, Coach Izzo and what he's done over the years for that program. Being the model program in a lot of different ways. It's hard not to have an eye on them because you just have so much respect and you know how good they are. Right now, to be honest with you, we have to just focus on our first game, which is this weekend.
And I just caution people, if you got background noise, to hit *6 to mute your line, hashtag or #6 for unmuting. Coach, any surprises during the preseason for you?
Not really. I think that some of our younger guys are coming along at probably a faster pace than I would have thought. And the good thing about our team, we have a lot of bodies. So we have some depth and competitive practices because we have more bodies this year. So I think we're moving in the right direction and just excited to get started.
Coach, can you talk about the rule changes this year? Some coaches saying there's more than they've ever seen. Your thoughts on the rules changes?
I'm interested more like to see it play out as it goes on. There definitely is a lot of rule changes, and I think there's going to be some significant ones as games go on. It's just one of the specific ones for me is the timeout rule. I just think, I think we should be careful about putting pressure on kids and having them fully understand throughout the entire game how many timeouts you have left. You just don't want to put kids in embarrassing situations, and maybe in a press conference you have to just, you have to talk about, well, you didn't really want to call timeout, but you just did. Yeah, I just think it's going to be interesting to see. I'd like to see what the total package looks like and then be reevaluated at the end. But I think it's always good to tinker and change. The game is already great, but if we can tinker and change and make it a little bit better, maybe a little more interesting throughout the year, then I'm all for it.
Coach, what about the format for the tournament where you play 2 games off day and then you play on Sunday, and you're playing at 2 different facilities? Any thoughts on that?
I just think it's great competition. It's unbelievably how good these teams are. If you just look at them, they're unbelievably well coached and been successful. It's going to be a heck of a challenge for our team, obviously starting with, Michigan State and that team. But every game is going to be competitive. But for a young team like ours, we'll learn valuable lessons the entire time through. So it's going to be an exciting tournament for us. Playing in 2 venues, we don't play in either one of them anyway, so they're both road games for us. So it's just going to be good for our team to just see those different experiences, play those different styles of play, and come out and just put a lot of film so we can improve.
Any questions for Coach Christian?
Yeah, I have one.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Jim, it's Kevin McNamara at the Providence Journal. How are you?
Hey, Kevin, how are you?
Good. Hey, can you just talk a little bit about Eli Carter's impact and just obviously the capability of adding someone like him at late date as a 1-year guy?
Well, he's just an explosive scorer. He's a guy that he's trying to kind of change and evolve on what his game is. I think he's always been a guy that's played off the ball and kind of like Olivier last year. He knows his future is playing at the point, and he's trying to learn how to run a team and understand the game from that perspective a little bit more and give himself a chance not only to have a good year this year, but have a future beyond basketball. But he's been great. He's been great for a young guy. He's been very receptive, and
and he's starting to learn. And I think as he grows and develops, our team will be. But he's without question, with the ball in his hands. I mean, he's a very capable scorer. He's already been proven at a bunch of different levels.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions for Coach Christian? Again, Coach, I think we've done it. We appreciate it very well. Good luck in those games prior to coming to Anaheim, and we'll see you the night before Thanksgiving. Okay, thank you. Okay, our next coach up will be Marty Simmons from Evansville. They won the CIT tournament last year. And for those that might wonder, we're not related. Tim Simmons and Marty Simmons are not related. So, Coach Simmons, are you on the line? Yeah, we got a couple minutes before he's due. Yeah, just to go over the shoot-around, they're close to the media, unless the schools open it up. But on the day before, on the 25th, we will have UC Irvine practicing first at 8:30 at Titan Gym, followed by Boise State at 9:35, Boston College at 10:40, Michigan State at 11:45, Evansville at 12:50, Providence 1:55, Santa Clara 3, and Arizona 4:05. Again, the practices are closed, but could be open. It depends on what the school wants to do. They don't have to do the shoot-around. Sometimes they practice at off-site facilities prior to playing on Thanksgiving. Again, we will have a transcript available a couple hours after this. It'll be both on the website and email it out. Okay, is Coach Simmons on the line? Yes, we've got 2 minutes. In the opening game of the tournament will be UC Irvine versus Boise State on ESPNU at 1 p.m., followed by Boston College, Michigan State at 3:30. Evening session will have Evansville and Providence at 6 p.m. Pacific time, followed by Santa Clara, Arizona. And that's on Thanksgiving, November 26th. Coach Simmons, are you on the line? Coach, welcome, and look forward to working with you next week. My name is Tim Simmons. I'm the media ops person for the DirecTV Wood Legacy. Just your thoughts, on the preseason so far for Evansville.
Well, number one, let me say thank you to all the people out there involved. We certainly are excited about the opportunity to come out and play in such a prestigious tournament. A lot of great teams, a lot of great coaches, great players. So for our program to get that opportunity is pretty exciting. Preseason has been pretty good. We've got a good core of guys back from really the last 2 years, and I think our guys have done a pretty good job of getting better every day. We're excited to open up on Sunday at home against Southeast Missouri. Again, we're just looking forward to the season.
Coach, who has stood out for you so far in the preseason? Obviously, you've got a 1-2 punch in the shooting guard and the big guy, and a lot of people talking about. But who are some of the other standouts on your team?
Well, Adam Wing is a senior for us. He played for all 4 years. He's from over in Kentucky, and he's a real tough, hard-nosed. Was a football player, quarterback in high school, and he's played great. I mean, he does all the little things. He's a great screener, gets on the floor, takes charges. He's a really good leader for us. He's played well. I think my son Blake has done a pretty good job of getting better, especially in the last couple weeks. Jalen Brown is a guy who played a lot of minutes for us last year. He's playing with a lot of confidence. So I think going into the season, and obviously as you said, DJ and Agidius, they're the staples of what we want to do, and they've played outstanding as well.
Coach, your first game is against Providence. Any thoughts on Providence, knowing that you got 3 games prior to that?
Yeah, I know they got a great player and Dunn, and I've actually seen them play on TV, and we've got a ton of respect for their program, and they do things the right way. They play extremely hard. That's going to be it'd be a great opportunity because of who they are and what they represent and the success they've had, and a big challenge all in the same thing. So again, I think from our standpoint, we're just excited about the chance.
Coach, we're asking all the coaches about the rule changes this year. Some think there's a lot of them. Your thoughts on the rule changes?
I don't have a whole lot of thought on it, really. I mean, it'll be interesting just with the freedom of movement, just, how it's called. And I know a couple of years ago, it seemed like in the non-conference, teams were shooting a ton of free throws. And then as we got into conference play, it kind of backed off. But it seems to me that they're really committed to it. From our standpoint, we've always tried to defend without putting hands and arms on people. I think it's kind of a wait and see with that. And, again, the 10-second and the 30-second clock we actually played with last year in the postseason. Didn't really notice a big difference in that. So I personally, I'm okay with all the rule changes. I think it'll be good for the game.
Coach, I probably should have asked this at first. You won the CI tournament. How big was that for your program? Obviously, losing in the conference tournament, then coming back. How big was that for you?
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, you said, we actually lost our last 4 games to end the regular season. We lost to Illinois State twice, and then we lost to Wichita State and Northern Iowa. So, 4 pretty good teams, but nonetheless, we lost those, and our dauber was down a little bit. But I think we were all pretty pleased with how the guys regrouped, and it was a good run for us. And to be able to win it at home in front of our home fans and share it with them was pretty special.
We'll open it up for questions from the floor. Do we have any questions for Coach Simmons from Evansville?
Yes, Marty, this is Kevin McNamara at the Providence Journal. I have not seen DJ Valentine play. Can you just talk about his game? Obviously, he's your point guard out in California. He'll have a chance to go up against Chris Dunn, which is exciting.
Yeah, it'll be exciting for those guys. It won't be exciting for our coaching staff because Chris is obviously an outstanding player, but DJ's he's been great for us. I mean, he can play either guard position, and he's a very versatile scorer for us. He can score in transition. He can get to the free throw line. He's got a good mid-range game. He started out the first exhibition. He had 8 assists and 1 turnover. I mean, he's got he's got a high basketball IQ. He understands how to play, and he can score without the ball. And then he's a good job. He does a good job of scoring with it. So I think the best thing about him is his versatility.
And just a follow-up, obviously your conference has really popped in the last several years. Can you talk about competing in a league with, obviously Northern Iowa and Wichita on a yearly basis?
Yeah, I mean, I think I said earlier, I've seen Providence. I got a lot of respect for them and the job that they've done out there. I mean, they play at a high level, and again, for us to just get the opportunity, it's tough. It's been tough for us to get opportunities against schools from like the Big East and ACC, whatever it may be, and it'll be a good barometer for us to kind of see where we're at. I mean, early in the year like that, it's a tremendous opportunity, and I think it's something that our guys will be looking forward to.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions for Coach Simmons?
Yes, I do. Coach, Jason Burgess, College Hoops Haven. Do you feel like you're a better team when DJ takes over or gets others involved?
That's a good question. I'm going to give you, I guess, probably a political answer. I mean, he does a pretty good job of trying to get other guys involved, but then he also does a good job of when we're struggling a little bit, he has the ability, to take over and maybe play a few possessions where he's super aggressive. I just think he's really he's pretty balanced with that, and he's got better, each and every year he's been here.
Another question? Coach, I forgot to ask Jim Christian this, but what does it mean to you to play in a tournament that has John Wooden's name on it? Obviously, Wooden from Indiana, and you're from Indiana, so what does that mean to you?
Well, it's awesome. I mean, he might be the greatest coach, doesn't matter what sport, ever. And I actually just read his book. I believe it was written by Seth Davis. Awesome. I mean, what a great honor, for our program. I believe, and if I say this out of line, you might double, but I think, Evansville has played UCLA when Coach Wooden was there. We had a legendary coach here at Evansville by the name A-Rad McCutcheon. So there is, some history there, and I just think it's probably one of the neatest things we've been able to do as a basketball program.
Okay. Any other questions for Coach Simmons? Well, Coach, thank you very much. Good luck to you in your games, and we'll see you Thanksgiving evening.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Okay. My phone's ringing off the hook. Our next coach up is Leon Rice from Boise State. Coach Rice on?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, Coach, thanks for calling in early. We'll get started early, and give us a little bit of a synopsis on how everything has been going for you at Boise State and the Broncos in the preseason.
Well, the preseason was a long grind, and this year we had a lot of missed practices by guys. So we're just kind of getting everybody healthy, getting everybody back. We got an old veteran group, a lot of guys that have been around the program for a while. So that helped with the transition into the games, but we need to get our guys playing some games together and getting our timing right, and be able to play through some of the injuries that we've had, and get guys out there on the floor together.
Coach, some thoughts about playing UC Irvine in the first game, knowing that you got a few games prior to that?
Well, we know how tough a game that's going to be, and I've watched them quite a bit over the last couple of years, and I think they have a terrific ball club. They present a lot of problems with the way they play, and their personnel obviously start defensively with their 7-6 guy in the middle. That's something you don't often see, and so it's a different kind of style that you're probably not used to playing against, and we have to be able to adjust to that. And there's also the factor that it's pretty much a home game for them too. So it's we know how tough it's going to be.
Coach, talk about some of your top players. Obviously, you're getting a player off of a red shirt. I should say, injury.
Well, we get Anthony Drummond back. We lost him last year, and he's going to end up being probably the all-time leading scorer in school history, and he's done some remarkable things for us. We think he's going to have a great senior year. Now that his last senior year was cut short, so he stepped it up in his leadership ability. He stepped it up in how engaged he is with the program and the team, and it's definitely Anthony. We got some other guys that are juniors and seniors that have been around the program, but Anthony's the guy that's probably been around it the longest, and Mikey, and I think he's going to do some great things this year.
Knowing that ESPN.com had a story about James Webb III, obviously he was kind of a surprise and kind of considered an underrated player in the country.
Well, he came on a lot. Part of it was to do with Anthony's injury. It created a void. We needed somebody to be able to step up and fill some of that what Anthony brought in the scoring aspect, and James certainly did that. He stepped up, and he had a terrific sophomore year. Ended up being newcomer of the year in the Mountain West, an all-league player, and I've seen him improve over the summer, and I've seen him improve this fall camp. So he's another guy that we expect to have a terrific year.
Coach, we've been asking everybody about the rule changes. Some say there's a lot of them this year. Your thoughts on all the rule changes?
Well, we'll see. It's one of those, everybody can project and think what they think now, but let's play some games and let's see where it falls and see how it helps the game. I do think we have the kind of team that, on paper, like I said, we'll see how it affects things. But on paper, we're the kind of team that these rules we should benefit from them. I mean, we kind of play a free-flowing offense. We move the ball pretty well. We have a lot of guys that can put it on the floor, and so if they're protected and if they're like the referee says it's going to be, I think we should benefit from that.
Coach, you're playing in a tournament that has John Wooden's name on it. Any thoughts about playing in this tournament with his name?
Well, I think it's just a neat opportunity for. First of all, there's great teams in this, and there's great coaches and terrific programs, and so that's just a tremendous honor to play against this level of teams, and then secondly to honor Coach Wooden, and it's neat that they have the tournament that honors such a great legendary coach. All those years at UCLA, what he did, just remarkable, and it'll never be done again. And all the things he stood for, that's neat for our guys, and it's something that we'll cover with our guys, make sure they understand what it is that we're talking about and who this man was.
Any questions for Coach Rice? Again, we have Coach Rice from Boise State on. Any questions?
Yes, Coach, Jason Burgess, College Hoops Haven. Could you just talk about how you see your point guard situation shaking out?
Well, we've got 3 or 4 guys that can play that position, and I think it's just we got a lot of guys that are going to play. I think it's going to only time will tell these guys throughout the year. The good thing about all 4 of them is they all 4 can play, but they all bring different things to the table, and so it might be situational sometimes of who we use. We got some good experience with Montego and Mikey, and then we got some young guys that are going to end up being really good point guards in Paris and Chandler. So we got a lot of different options. I think it's going to take some season of who can do what, but it's nice as a coach to have those different options.
Another question for the coach? Coach, question I have, you're playing 2 days at Titan Gym, and then you'll play 1 day at the Honda Center. Does that cause any problems for you, or do you like the format?
I don't know. I mean, that's one of those that you probably have to. I've never done that in a tournament before, so it's a little different. It would seem, that it might end up being where you have to adjust to the rims, adjust to the backdrop, that kind of thing. But it's for our guys. You're playing a lot of different gyms throughout the year, so I don't think it matters that much. And, like I said, I may think differently after we play 3 games. You got to adjust, but I don't think it matters.
Okay. Any other questions for Coach Rice? If not, Coach, thank you very much for taking time today, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks so much, guys.
Okay, we have a little 15-minute leg time. Sometimes these go a little bit long, so our next call will be at Eastern time will be at 2:55, which was that figure out to be about 11:55 in the Pacific. So that'd be Kerry Keating, followed by from Santa Clara, followed by Russell Turner from Irvine, Sean Miller from Arizona, Ed Cooley from Providence. So again, this is the first time these coaches have been a little bit quicker than most, so apologize for the delay. Any questions that you might have with me? Okay. I'm online, so holler if you need anything. Coach Keating, see if we can get him on a little bit early. We'll have a team in the tournament for the second time.
I can get him.
Oh, John, are you on?
Yeah, I've been listening in, so I can go. I can go see if I can grab him a little early.
Okay, thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
Hang tight.
Okay. And I apologize for the delay here, but in the past years we've always run over, so need your patience. No, he's dialing in right now, actually. Okay, thank you.
Everybody there?
Yeah. Coach Keating?
Yes.
Well, welcome. Thank you for getting on early. Things are going quick, so just ask you a quick question to start with. How's the preseason gone?
I'm sorry, say it again?
How's the preseason? I mean, you've had an exhibition game, but how's all the practices and the exhibition game?
They've been good for whoever's healthy. We had 6 guys miss anywhere from 4 to 21 practices, so we've been a little bit of a mass unit, but probably no different than a lot of teams in the country. We're finally back to as full of health as we can be right now. It's been about a week we've been together fully healthy, and we'll find out obviously tomorrow in our opener where we're at.
Coach, obviously you got to play Arizona, nationally ranked team. What are your thoughts about the Wildcats, knowing that you got a couple games prior to that?
Yeah, we actually have 5 games before we even see them. So this may be a completely different call 5 games from now. It's not going to change the opponent. Obviously, I have a lot of respect for Sean and the program in Arizona. I haven't competed against them, so certainly in my youth days, but certainly one of the best, if not the best program on the West Coast, you know, outside of the UCLA's and the San Diego States of the world recently. So we're looking forward to the opportunity and looking forward to competing in the tournament. And probably the one of, if not the toughest fields in the preseason tournaments in November.
Coach, talk about some of your top players that we'll be seeing in the DirecTV Wooden Legacy.
Well, the one known commodity we have in Jared Brownridge is our junior all-conference player, for only second player in the history of the West Coast Conference to score 1,000 points in his first 2 true years of college. Young man out of Aurora, right outside of Chicago, has really done a tremendous job developing himself. Following in the footsteps of his predecessor, Kevin Foster, who scored 2,400 points here at the 2-guard position. He kind of took that and ran with it, and obviously looking forward to expanding on that. Unfortunately, missed a bunch of practices early, but had a great off-season, back to full health now. The rest of them, really to be determined. We have 10 freshmen and sophomores, 3 juniors, and no scholarship seniors on our roster, so a lot yet to be determined. And as you mentioned, those 5 games before we even get down to Anaheim may be very telling as to who emerges out of that. And we're looking for some of our sophomores to step up because of that, guys that have got a chance to play last year with 3 of our guys out, and a couple of redshirt guys that are starting to get a little more mature, and Jarvis Pugh and Emmanuel Demaya. So a lot of unknowns for us, more than the knowns, which in some ways is good, in some ways is bad. But I'm excited about them and really like where they're at individually, and I'm hoping to get a better feel for them chemistry-wise as these next 2 weeks develop.
Coach, has there been anything that surprised you with your team during the preseason?
I wouldn't say surprising because, again, it's a lot of unknowns. We had a great offseason. You know, this is really a year-round undertaking now in college basketball. So you're not as surprised even with as young a team as you have in September because you're seeing them over the summer now. I'm pleased with their attitude and with their effort. There's just so much that's yet to be learned by the freshmen and the untested sophomores in our program that they're going to get thrown into the fire. We do shoot the ball well from bigs to littles. And I think we have some pretty good depth right now that we may be able to utilize, especially in the early part of November. You know, I'm looking forward to kind of see how that formulates this weekend. We open up with 3 games in 3 days here on campus, the 49th Cable Car tournament, before we get down to Anaheim and play those 4 games that we're involved in. So a busy month for us, obviously going to culminate in a great tournament and a great field down in Anaheim for the Classic.
Coach, we've been asking everyone about the rule changes this year. Some think there's a lot of them. What are your thoughts about all the rule changes?
Really no different than any other year. I mean, we'll see how the officials handle those changes early on. We haven't seen too much of that in the officials that have been on our campus for practice in our 2 games, exhibition and scrimmage. You know, we've been practicing with a 24-second shot clock for the last 5 years. So we don't really find ourselves in those positions from a shot clock standpoint. Obviously, the extra foot of the arc may be a little bit of an adjustment from the defensive standpoint. Probably the biggest one may be not being able to call live ball timeouts from the sideline, but we worked hard on that with audible calls for our guys to know when we want that, so they know what that means when we do want a timeout and a live ball in possession. I wouldn't say too much. Hopefully it helps the game flow a little bit better, and we're certainly equipped to take on more scoring and hope that it helps to our advantage.
Coach, the last time you played in this tournament, it had a different name, and you placed third in 2011. Now you're playing a tournament with John Wooden's name on it. What does that mean to you and to your team?
Well, I'm pretty fortunate to have spent time with Coach Wooden. Obviously, in my days at UCLA before Coach passed. Growing up in the 70s and knowing that UCLA was a premier program and obviously the one that was winning brings your attention a lot of how special UCLA can be. I was really fortunate to get hired by Coach Hallen there and help him get the team to some Final Fours. And certainly Coach Wooden and his legacy will live at UCLA, but also in college basketball forever. One of, if not the best coach of all time. But I really got a chance to understand how important the non-basketball stuff was to him. Well documented, obviously, even before he passed, but especially since, how the life lessons were important to him as well. And that's the first time I spent time with him at his apartment. We didn't really talk about basketball. I remember I had a pad with me and a pen. I was ready to kind of get all the basketball. You know, you're a young guy trying to get some head up on basketball stuff. And we sat and talked about everything but. And, to be involved and have my team here at Santa Clara involved in that, certainly that sentiment won't be lost and certainly will be translated to them as we head into that week playing in a tournament that honors his legacy.
Coach, you're on the same side of a bracket with an Evansville that's coming out of a what they call the mid-major type of things, Missouri Valley, you and the West Coast, with a great team like Gonzaga, St. Mary's, and so forth. How big is this tournament for you guys as you try to grow the program?
Well, we've been in that phase now for going into our 9th year of trying to elevate our status, and being involved in these events certainly helps that. We've had a relative amount of success in postseason tournaments and in MD events. You know, you mentioned 2010. We were fortunate enough to beat New Mexico, beat Villanova. Unfortunately, didn't beat Oklahoma, but put ourselves in a position to understand we can compete with these teams. We have the athletic ability and the talent. It's a matter of having the understanding that you have these opportunities to go and play on a neutral floor. Certainly with Arizona, and obviously the bracket showing Providence and Evansville. I mean, these events are great for all the teams involved. You know, for the competition level, the ability for, as you mentioned, mid-major schools to get a chance to play more than one major program possibly. But just to go out and compete, just no matter who you're playing, where you're playing, what level it is, we're all in this together trying to compete and get better every day. And to have this level of competition can only make you better, win, lose, or draw.
Coach, what do you think about the format this time? Previous time you just played at the Anaheim Convention Center 3 games. Here you have to play 2 games at Titan Gym, followed up on the final day at Honda Center. Any problems with that?
It is what it is. I could go either way with it. Obviously, like I mentioned, it's about playing the games. Court's still the same size, same length, same height. Gym may be a little bit smaller around it, but at the end of the day, it's what happens inside the 9450, and that's what we're going to do when we get to Titan Gym and obviously get to the Honda Center on Sunday. So looking forward to seeing all the coaches and all the teams, and looking forward to as I mentioned, maybe the best field and may produce the best games in November out of all these early season tournaments.
Any questions for Coach Keating?
Hey, Coach, it's Bruce Tausko with the Arizona Daily Star, if you can hear me. I just got curious. I know the game is far away, obviously, but I was curious your scouting report on Mark Collison. You've probably seen him there a little bit.
Oh, yeah, good player. And obviously took advantage of the graduate transfer rule. I remember talking to Sean about that this summer. Sean and I worked for a weekend together in Colorado Springs. I was fortunate enough to be asked to be a court coach for his under-19 team before they went over to Greece and won gold. I remember talking to him before. I've known Sean from recruiting circles even before he even got out to the West Coast. And talking about Mark, he got a great versatile player with supreme length and ability to shoot the ball and athleticism. He brings length and athleticism that any level could utilize, and certainly Rex was doing that here in our conference, and I'm sure Sean will find that useful for him there. I obviously haven't seen him play yet, but I wouldn't be surprised to see if Mark's playing a lot of time for them, especially being an older player.
Yeah, and they're talking about him maybe even guarding threes and possibly even a 2. I don't know if you ever saw. I don't know if he ever matched up against any of your guys, on the wing or.
Off the top of my head, maybe I don't remember. But like I
he's got good athleticism and really, even though he's skinny, he's got length. He's got wiry strength and length that can be a problem. And good shot blocker and good finisher, but also a good shooter. He's a good player, and certainly is someone that I think Sean will be happy with and trying to help him win games down there.
Yeah. So how was that experience? You were there for 3 days coaching the team, guys, when they were trying to make the team.
Yeah, they bring in some coaches to coach the kids while the staff is evaluating who they want to cut and who they want to keep. And that was a great experience. And I've been knowing Sean Ford ever since I helped PJ Colosimo as a student when I was a student assistant for him back in the mid-'90s in the university games in July. Just having an outside involvement in USA basketball, now to be directly involved in it, I was really happy to. Ed Cooley was an assistant on that team too. You had Ed and Sean, two guys we're going to ironically see in the tournament this year. It was a great experience. Got a chance to coach kids for 3 days and 5 different sessions, and just be involved in helping them get better and understand what it means to represent our country. And the way that's evolved now, obviously with Coach K taking over the senior team and the top team, and all the way down to the youth development that they're implementing now. You can really kind of feel a difference, and then obviously Sean did a tremendous job in coaching that team to a gold medal over in Greece. And it was fun watching them, getting a chance to watch them, knowing that you had a little bit of a hand in helping develop that team and put guys in a position to shine, which I hope I did a good job of. But really appreciate the opportunity just to be around Sean and Ed. Archie was there as an assistant, as was obviously Coach Boeheim, who was heading up the committee as always. Matt Painter. Lavelle Moten, another one of the core coaches, a great coach out of North Carolina Central. So just a great weekend of basketball, and ended up being a good launching pad for my summer to kind of be motivated to get better, knowing that you can see these guys getting better and obviously getting better to the point where they won a gold in Greece.
Were you surprised, with that gold? And that was a really talented team, especially up front, but also really young. And then they going.
Yeah, they ended up keeping Ferguson and Tatum, Giles and Jackson, and they were like the core of the team. Obviously a great group, but the college guys really helped. I mean, in the end, Jalen was the one that really trained. The guy that had experience at the USA level and going into college. The big guys did a great job. Obviously, Thomas, who we recruited here at Santa Clara, his entire family are Santa Clara people now at UCLA. It was a great mix. It was good to be involved in helping develop that mix of players in that weekend, and then see what it kind of transformed into the young guys with the older guys. And at the end of the day, they're all on the court together representing their country, and did a tremendous job. I can't imagine it's easy to coach that way, but I hope that the things that we did that weekend kind of help the mindset and help the staff get ready for that trip. And obviously, if it results in a goal, no matter what you do, everything is a success.
Right. And you talked about Sean a little before. One final thing, just wondering, during that weekend, did you spend any time with him? I mean, I didn't know if you guys consider yourself friends or kind of what your relationship's like.
Yeah, I mean, we're friendly from being on the road. I mean, certainly from his days back in NC State, I was at Tennessee. You kind of cross paths with guys on the road a lot, especially as assistants, and then obviously when he became a head coach at Xavier. So it's more of and he grew up in the 5-star family, which I did too. He's a Pittsburgh guy. And, there's a lot of mutual friends, and you become close with guys when you end up sitting in gyms with them, and you communicate with them in times of need when you can help them out. And certainly, Sean's been in that position, have a tremendous amount of respect for him, and now we find ourselves both on the West Coast. Not surprised to see his success translate into helping Coach Olson's program really develop into one of the premier programs and sustain itself again. Knowing that we took advantage of that a little bit at UCLA when I was there, we didn't have too much of a threat from Arizona during those times, and that probably had something to do with our success, to be honest with you, because those were always difficult battles, back in those days between UCLA and Arizona. So looking forward to competing against them and playing against this team, and knowing it'll be a good measuring stick for us after 5 games in, and certainly for the next 30 games after that.
Cool. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Any other questions for Coach Keating?
Yes, Coach Jason Burgess, College Hoops Haven. With such a dynamic guy like Jared, how do you avoid leaning on him too much so that he is fresh in February and March?
Well, he kind of helped himself out with that by being out for 3 weeks of practice. He had a minor groin injury that we gave all the time we needed to get healthy, just because we knew he'd be a 1,000-minute guy. I've been happy with our young guys kind of taking some of that pressure off a little bit. We have some guys that can score the ball, and whether it gets sustained kind of remains to be seen. But Jared certainly is one that can put the ball in the basket, especially at key times. We don't want to lean on him too heavily and wear him out because obviously we need him on the floor, especially at the times where it's going to show up. We have a pretty deep team right now. We'll see if that depth holds up, knock on wood, with our health. But we've been really working really hard this offseason on developing that chemistry with such a young team, 10 freshmen and sophomores, to trust each other. I think that's the one thing these kids all come in with a level of understanding of how good they are, but I think they really need to understand how good their teammates are. And so far, so good. They've done a good job of understanding that and trusting each other. And it hasn't been a domination by Jared in practice, so I think that's a good thing because he does have his moments, and you definitely know when he's on the floor. But I think we're going to find ourselves spreading this thing out a little bit to try to help him out, as you mentioned.
Okay, any other questions? Well, Coach, thank you very much for filling in and coming on early, and look forward to seeing you next week.
Great, thank you. All right, take care.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay, our next coach up is Russell Turner from Irvine. Is Coach Turner on? And after that, it'll be Sean Miller and Ed Cooley. We had Ed scheduled earlier, but I think he's coming out of a practice session. Again, Irvine and Providence will be competing in their second tournament in Anaheim. First time they different coaches. Again, I got a couple minutes before he's due. Coach Turner, are you on? Again, we'll be open for business on Wednesday prior to the tournament when they have the shoot-around. So it starts at 8:30 in the morning, and we'll be there probably around 9 o'clock on Wednesday the 25th at Titan Gym up in the Media Center, which will be on the second level of the facility. Coach Turner, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Coach, welcome. My name's Tim Simmons. I handle the media ops for the DirecTV Wooden Legacy. Give us your thoughts on your preseason to date, and I think you played one exhibition game. So how's the Anteaters?
The Anteaters are doing well. I think we have a chance to have a good team. We've had a relatively injury-free preseason practice, and that's our biggest concern. We've got veteran guards, and a bunch of big guys, and we got high expectations.
Coach, talk a little bit about Boise State, knowing that it looks like you have 4 games prior to playing the Broncos, but any thoughts on playing Boise State in your first-round game?
Well, we're really excited about the opportunity to play those guys. Have great respect for the program that they've developed there. I think that they're a particularly interesting matchup for us because they've been such a great offensive team and a great three-point shooting team. I think that this is a really interesting college basketball matchup. You know, it's one that we know is going to be hard for us, but I think that we can make things hard for them in some ways too. And I think it's just a good college basketball game. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Coach, who has stood out so far in your preseason? Who are your top players, and have you had any surprises from any of your newcomers?
Well, we've got 3 returning players who are all conference selections in Mamadou Jai, Alex Young, and Luke Nelson. Those guys have been really good throughout the preseason, and I expect them all to have really strong years. If there's a surprise, I guess it would be Mike Best, who I think led us in scoring in our exhibition game. He is a 5th-year senior who is taking over the position that Will Davis vacated when he graduated. So he's a little bit of a new talent on the scene because he didn't play as much with Will here last year, but he's a really talented player and one that I've got high expectations for.
Coach, there's a lot of rule changes going into effect this year. Your thoughts on them?
Well, the rule change that's getting talked about very little is the physical allowance now in post defense, and to me, that's going to be the most impactful of the changes, based on what I've seen so far. The committee, made the point that they wanted to, create rules for more freedom of movement and not allow, physical play on the perimeter and against cutters, but they've gone totally against that with what they're allowing now in the post. And I think that presents a real challenge for the officials. I'm hoping that we get that straightened out. I haven't seen that much of a change in terms of what is allowed on the perimeter. Our team plays a lot of zone, so that hasn't affected us probably as much as it has some teams. But I'm looking forward to seeing the effect of the shot clock. I like a faster game. I happen to be one of the coaches who would like to see us, match the rest of the world and play with a 24-second shot clock. So I think the change is a good one. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Coach, talk a little bit about the format for the tournament. Obviously, with John Wooden's name on it, playing 2 games off a day, playing at 2 different sites. Just your thoughts on the tournament.
Well, we're really excited to be included. This is the first time we've had a chance since I've been here to be a part of this event. John Wooden is a man that all of us coaches want to emulate. As a newcomer to the West Coast, I've learned as much as I can about him and his success. And I'm just really proud to be a part of this field and to have a good team. I feel like, Irvine, having the opportunity this year with a team that we feel like is going to be competitive in this event is important for us. Getting to play in the Honda Center is big because that's where our conference tournament is. So we're excited about that. And then playing 2 games at Fullerton is also exciting because it's right here in Orange County. We're trying to become, more of a recognized team in Orange County, and this event gives us a great opportunity.
Do we have any questions for Coach Turner from the floor? Any questions?
Yes, Coach. Jason Burgess, College Hoops Haven. With Luke and Alex back, could you talk about how important they are in terms of taking the focus off of Mamadou inside?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Jason. Those 2 guys are really excellent college basketball players, and they're both very experienced now. They've been together playing for the previous 2 years. They also, a lot of people don't know, they also have both been a part of Great Britain's international program, their national teams. So they've got a lot of experience playing together, and they're really good. The immediate fascination with our team is our big guys, because if you look at our roster, we have a lot of height on paper, and Mamadou is such a guy that everybody wants to know more about. I think our guards are every bit the reason why we're good, and I think the people in our conference know that pretty well. I say all the time that all that Alex and Luke have done in playing together is win championships in both years. So we have really high hopes because of them. I think they're real good complements for one another on both offense and defense, and they're both incredibly smart players.
Any other questions? Well, Coach, thank you very much. Look forward to meeting you next in a couple of weeks. I'm down in Puerto Rico for the Puerto Rico tip-off, but good luck on your opening games.
Thank you, Tim. I appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, we have 2 coaches left. Next coach up will be Sean Miller from Arizona, followed by Ed Cooley. Just an idea, we have credentialed over 45 professional scouts for this tournament. That's the most we've had in 9 years of doing them. So we've credentialed over 45, expect close to 50 professional scouts. Also, our all-session tournament tickets are almost completed. We're within 200 of selling out those. So the interest is very high for this year's DirecTV Wooden Legacy. Just checking in, is Coach Miller on the line yet? Again, a reminder, a couple hours afterwards we'll have transcripts of the thing, and it'll also be posted on the event website. Just a reminder to folks, we'll have press credentials available on Wednesday, starting around 9 o'clock. o'clock. That's on the 25th. And again, they'll have a shoot-around closed to the media. But 8:30 will be UC Irvine. At 9:35, Boise State. 10:40, Boston College. 11:45, Michigan State. 12:50, Evansville. 1:55, Providence. 3 o'clock, Santa Clara. 4:05, Arizona. Again, all sessions are closed to the media unless the schools open it up. If you need to get interviews prior to the tournament, the best thing is to contact the SIDs at each school. Coach Miller, are you on the line? Okay, we got a couple minutes. Again, for those thinking of for parking passes, we really don't have anything because it's free at Cal State Fullerton. It's a tight gym. I'll send out information about parking at the facility, but it's free on Thursday and Friday. Obviously, school is out of session. And then at the Honda Center, you just approach with your press pass to the parking entrance for press, and your name will be on the list. Coach Miller, are you on the line? Coach Miller. Okay, is Coach Miller on the line? Coach Miller? Is Coach Miller on the line? Coach Miller? Coach Miller? We're going to dial up the SID right now and double check. Oh, the basketball office. Coach Sean Miller, are you on the line? Call the basketball office. Yep. We'll call the basketball office here. We're using ESPN events teleconference, and so coaches have to dial in just like everyone else. So I don't have the luxury of calling them and putting them right on. Okay, we've contacted teleconference. He'll be on his way here shortly.
Just got out of it.
Is Coach Miller on? Coach Miller? Coach Miller? Is Coach Miller on the line? Is Coach Miller on the line? Is Coach Miller? Coach Miller?
Yes.
Welcome. This is Tim Simmons with the DirecTV Wooden Legacy. Welcome to our teleconference today. If you can just give us an opening comment about the preseason practices and your exhibition game to start the year.
Well, we've had a good preseason in a number of ways. You know, one of the things that hasn't gone our way in a positive direction is, you know, we sustained a season-ending injury to one of our talented young freshmen, Ray Smith. He got hurt, I think, in the second week of practice, and we lost him for the year with a torn ACL. He's had surgery, and we're hopeful that he'll make a full recovery and join us next year. And you know, every preseason's a little differently with injuries, but we've had almost on a daily basis somebody go down either for that period of practice or miss a couple days, and so you always hope you can get that string of good health. We really haven't experienced it, and at the same time, you know, I think relative to other guys missing significant time, Ray is the only injury that's long lasting. I think that sometimes building the continuity early is who's available, and it'd be nice for us to be able to kind of have our full cast of characters available. We're looking forward to that time. That has not come yet.
Coach, I know you have 4 games prior to playing Santa Clara, but any thoughts on the Broncos?
No, I know Kerry Keating does a great job with his team and program, and they're going to be well prepared and well coached. You know, we respect the conference that they play in. We follow them quite a bit because we're both out here in the West, and we know, especially on a neutral court in California, it's going to be a very difficult challenge for our team. And you know, we're excited to be in an event. I think being able to have that opportunity to play 3 games in 4 days on a neutral court only makes your team better prepared for conference play and tougher for the long journey of a college basketball season. And, you know, we're looking forward to being a part of the tournament in general.
Talk about their Jared Brownridge, their player. Obviously, he's kind of one of the top players in their conference and scored over 1,000 points. Any thoughts on him?
I know he's a very talented player. Obviously, we have, a number of games before we get there, so it's not as if we're watching Santa Clara right now.
Coach, talk about your top players on your team. Obviously, you lost several players the past couple seasons to the NBA. Who are going to be the standouts?
Well, we have two players that have played a lot of basketball for us who are both seniors. Caleb Tarzuski, our starting center, and Gabe York, starting two-guard. Those guys have played in some of the biggest games that a college player can play in, and both are in their fourth year. In Caleb's career, he's been a starter since his freshman year. And very rarely do those types of guys stick around for that last coveted senior year that used to be. But Caleb's one of them, and he's a great student. He's one of our leaders, and we're really counting on those two guys. I think from a leadership perspective and an experience viewpoint to be, a big factor in us having a good season. And, we've added two other seniors, Ryan Anderson, who played at Boston College, sat out last year, and is off to a great start here early this season for us. And Mark Tollefson, who a year ago played at San Francisco. And the one common thread between the four of them, they're all seniors. Two of them are new. Two of them have been here for a while. But it's that veteran leadership that we're really banking on.
Has there been any players surprise you so far?
Ryan Anderson has been a pleasant surprise. He's with us all of last year, which really benefited him. I think when you guys have a chance to see him play this year for the first time, he's been a productive player at Boston College in the ACC, but his body is physically bigger and stronger. He's worked really in a tireless manner for the last 12 to 15 months to prepare himself to be out there, and he's off to a great start. And again, back to my initial comments, good health and having him on our team from start to finish is going to be a big, big thing for us.
Coach, there's been a lot of rule changes this year. Your thoughts?
I think our game is on the right track from a big picture perspective, to have less delays, to have a quicker pace, more of a flow for a spectator, for a coach, for a team is what we're all after. And I think a lot of these rule changes, implement that type of game.
Any questions for Coach Miller?
Yeah, I have one. It's Kevin McNamara at the Providence Journal, Sean. Can you talk a little bit about the experience of being with Ed Cooley the last couple of summers with USA Basketball? Well, Ed Cooley is one of the great people that I've spent time with, especially in the coaching world. Ed and I knew each other from a distance. But like anything in sports, when you live with each other and you're surrounded by the USA Basketball experiences that we both had the last two summers, I think there's kind of an unspoken bond that happens. And, especially with what we did this past summer, being in Greece and winning a gold medal with a young team and being in the host country of playing Greece in Greece on that path to getting to the gold medal. I think it's an event, it's a period of time that we'll never forget. And we locked arms, we really did, on and off the court. And he's not only one of the great coaches in our game, but one of the great people. And he influenced me in a lot of ways, made me a better person, a better coach. And I look at these last couple of summers as just an amazing experience, really for me as a person, to be around him on a daily basis, because as you know, Kevin, he has an energy level that's hard to describe unless you're actually around him on a daily basis. So I look at him as a great friend. Great, appreciate that.
Any other questions for Coach Miller?
Yes, Coach. Jason Burgess, College Hoops Haven. Losing 4 starters, how much of a learning curve do you expect as guys grow into new roles this season?
Well, it's been a significant learning curve because even though, like I had mentioned earlier, we have an experienced team, and on one side of the ledger, 2 of those seniors are first-year players. One who practiced with us last year, Ryan Anderson, and Mark Tollefson, who wasn't with us last year. You add in 4 freshmen and a couple of other guys like a Parker Jackson Cartwright, who has a different role this year than last year, or Kadeem Allen, who sat out last year and now is playing for the first time at Arizona. We have quite a few new faces. So, every day is different. It's a challenge. Like I said, we're not decimated by any stretch of the imagination with injuries, but we seem to be that team that gets banged up each week, and it's taken away from our improvement here early in the year, and kind of hoping that we can get a good stretch of health where we can practice consistently from start to finish for an extended period of time. That would certainly help.
Any other questions?
Yeah, hey, Sean, this is Bruce Pasco. I was just listening to what you're saying. We've heard about Caleb and Ray. I mean, anybody else who's kind of been banged up, like you're saying, that maybe set him back a little bit developmentally this fall?
Elliot Pitts hurt his knee. It's not a long-term injury, but it's something that he's missed a few days. And those are the ones that I'm talking about. You miss a practice, you miss part of the practice, you miss a couple of days, and a lot of those types of things have hit us over the last 15 to 20 practices. We just have that type of team so far. So we're hoping that we can get on a good stretch here, because like a lot of the questions that are being asked, when you talk about losing the number of players that we did, you want that continuity in practice to prepare your team, especially for a tournament like the one we're talking about, because it happens early in the year and you're at the mercy of your early season practices.
Yeah. And just following up on what you were saying about Coach Cooley, did you guys know you'd be on the same side of the bracket? I mean, you may end up playing him in the second game. Is that a good thing for you or a bad thing, the way you're talking about?
I think you inevitably play against your friends. I feel like it's happened a number of times, especially last couple seasons for us here at Arizona. We're all connected in some way as a coach. Kerry Keating was one of the court coaches this past summer that led us to choosing our team, and he was a part of the USA basketball experience as well. We played them the first game, but and you never know. I mean, we have to win or lose. Ed has to win or lose for that to even happen, so I don't know if we've even thought about it.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions for Coach Miller? Coach, thoughts on playing the tournament where you're playing at two different sites, Titan Gym for 2 nights and then Honda Center, which you're familiar with. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I know a lot of coaches are going away from these types of tournaments. I'm certainly not one of them. We feel like these types of tournaments in the months of November and December, really prepare you for tournament play, Pac-12 tournament in our case, hopefully the NCAA tournament where you get used to being away from home, playing a quality opponent, a well-coached team on a neutral site. And the fact that we can do it 3 games in 4 days at 2 sites, that's even better. You'll leave that tournament knowing a lot more about your own team. I think your players will be more sure of themselves, and moving forward will be better because of it, regardless of the outcome. And hopefully we'll have the chance to win a game or 2 or 3. We'll see.
John, you've had a legacy in your family from your father to your brother, but you're playing in a tournament with John Wooden's name on it. What does that mean to you?
Well, I've answered a lot of questions since I became the coach at Arizona the last 7 years about Coach Wooden, because we're closer to UCLA, closer to California and the West Coast. But even when you're back in Ohio, or I think a young coach who coaches midget football, or a women's soccer coach, I think all coaches look to Coach Wooden. He transcends the sport, the game. I think just leadership in general. If you're running a company, you're going to look at him as someone to admire because of how he ran his program, how he treated people, and and the care that he took to do things the right way. And so I'm in a very, very long line of people that admire what he did more as a person than even a coach. And that's hard to say because he won 10 national championships.
Any other questions for Coach Miller? If not, Coach, thank you very much for talking with us today. Again, did someone ask a question? If not, thank you very much, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're waiting for Coach Cooley. Are you on the line?
This is Ed Cooley right now.
Hi, Ed. How are you? Welcome to the teleconference. I'm Tim Simmons, the media ops person for the tournament. Give us an opening statement about your team's practices so far this year, and looks like you played one exhibition game.
Yeah, first of all, I want to tell you how grateful we are to be part of the tournament, and we're excited to come out and play. I'm excited to get our season started on Saturday. We have a lot of new faces. We have some guys that don't have a lot of game experience. So it'll be a work in progress for us as we go through the early part of our non-conference games. But we're excited to play. We're tired of playing against each other. We had a couple opportunities to play exhibition game and a scrimmage, so we're excited. We're really excited, and hopefully we can continue to get better as our practices and games are coming.
Coach, you got 4 games prior to play in Evansville, but any thoughts about the Purple Aces and their 2 big players?
Well, I know they're very well coached. They have some veterans on their team. Just taking a brief look at them, we're going to have our hands full. We haven't studied them much because we got many games before we play them, but I do know their resume, and, they're going to be a tough out. Hopefully we can go out there and compete and try to advance in the tournament.
Coach, we're going to have close to 50 professional scouts here. Obviously, one of your players is that they're looking at, Chris Dunn. Talk about Chris.
Chris is an amazing young man, not just as a basketball player. When we recruited Chris some 5 years ago to where he is right now, the adversity that this young man has faced, the injuries, losing a parent, he's had a very tough upbringing to where he is right now. I think he's in a good space. A lot of people don't know how funny he is as a young man. He's very, very charismatic, and hopefully he can lead us to a place we haven't been in a long time.
Are there any other players that are standing out for you right now?
Ben Batil is really emerging. Rodney Bullock is a first-year player for us who is a junior. We have a couple of freshmen that we're looking forward to, but I would say Ben and Rodney are guys that definitely surprised me in the early part of our preseason on their development. Kyron Cartwright, another kid from California who should have a lot of family members there, has probably been our most improved player.
Coach, talk a little bit about the rule changes that are going on this year.
Well, I think it's good for our game. It's the way the game is going. Very nervous early in the season. Will it be overkill on point of emphasis, where the game is at a halt, where it stops? But I think the big picture is, I think we, the coaches, and the officials have to give it a chance to see if the changes could really affect our great game. Hard to comment on that now, other than we have to make adjustments as well as the officials, and hopefully it makes our game better.
Coach, you're going to be playing at 2 different sites in the tournament, two at Cal State Fullerton Tank Gym and then the Honda Center. And your thoughts on the format?
I like the format. I like it a lot. It gives you an opportunity to have a tournament-type feeling. If we're fortunate enough to get to the NCAA tournament, there are different sites there, just to travel, for us to go that far. We always talk about how do we prepare ourselves for March, and to get a high-level tournament like this in November, to give us some experience to play at 2 different sites, whether it be, if you advance in a tournament, I think it's really good. It helps us for the Big East tournament because we have to go to Madison Square Garden, play there, to say, okay, we assimilated this in the Honda Arena there. So I think it's going to be really good for Providence College, and we should have a lot of alum that come watch us out there.
Okay, questions for the floor for the Providence coach.
Hey, Coach.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Bruce Pasco with the Arizona Daily Star. Coach, I was just wondering your relationship with Sean Miller and how it's been over those last couple of summer experiences you guys have had, and particularly last summer, how it worked out.
Well, I can tell you, I've known Sean. I remember watching him at the University of Pittsburgh, but over the last 2 years, we've become very, very good friends. I think I've learned more from him, as a person, as a coach, very intense. We got a bond. When you have that USA experience, along with Archie, his brother, it's to do what we did in Greece with such a young team, to have won a gold medal with Billy at 18 and under, then he as the head coach. I can't tell you, how much time you spend with one another, and you get to know not just Sean, but his wife, his children, his family. I love him. I'm going to cheer for him. I hope we have an opportunity to play him because that means we won a game in the tournament. Everybody always asks, how do you play your friends? This business is about that. You're going to play people you're really close to. You cheer for them every game, but the game you play, just hope nobody gets hurt. So Sean's a great person. I love him. I call him all the time. I'm always worried about him, and I hope he has major, major success this season.
I was wondering, if you almost felt outnumbered there last summer with him and Archie and the family and all that, and
yeah, it was hanging with the Millers. We had a great time together, and I can tell you those guys do an unbelievable job with their passion, their energy. Very, very knowledgeable in the game. They've been around the game, and I've learned a lot from him. And I'm proud to call him a close friend.
How did you guys divide up? I mean, did you take responsibility for certain parts of that team? Or how did it work out, especially last year when he was the head guy and technically, but he's kind of described it here as you were almost like a co-coach or something. How did that work out?
First of all, I think USA Basketball does a good job identifying people that that are different, that can add value to the staff, and we follow the leader. Do your role, whatever needs to be done, we all do it. You got 3 head coaches on the bench. You give different ideas. There's one voice. We have meeting after meeting. We go over game preparation, practice preparation, and you do what you're told, and you embrace it. We're all there to win a gold medal. We're all there as coaches for the United States, and if we're all on the same page, we feel we can have success.
All right, another question for the coach.
Yes, Coach Jason Burgess, College Hoops Haven. Chris Dunn is back, but how do you replace the likes of LaDontae Hampton and Tyler Harris?
That's a great question. 2 outstanding players, 2 guys that had a lot of game experience, playing experience. I don't know if you can replace them with what they did. We have different type of players. We have different skill set. So it's going to be on the coaching staff to develop an identity for those guys that now will be playing, put them in positions where they can be successful. I don't think you replace guys like that because they were so diverse in their game. We'll play differently than we did a year ago, so whoever we put out there is going to have to perform at a really, really high level. I don't think you can replace those guys. You're going to hope to have the same success, though.
Any other questions? Coach, one final thing. You're playing in a tournament that has John Wooden's name on it. What does that mean to you and your program?
When you hear Coach Wooden's name, it's synonymous with excellence and pride. And, we talk to our players about playing in that tournament and what it means. As a young coach, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, he had values that all of us to this day use. So we're really proud to be part of it. I was fortunate as an assistant coach to play in a tournament that had his name on it in Anaheim before. So, and I had an opportunity to meet him. Signed a book for me. I'm a big fan. Anytime you win the way he won with the level of integrity, that's really important to us as an organization. So we're looking forward to coming out there and hopefully represent the Wooden legacy in a first-class manner.
Okay, any other questions for Coach Cooley? Coach, thank you very much. Good luck. And in your games, I guess you got about 4 of them prior to getting to Anaheim, so we hope you're 4-0.
Thank you, and good luck to all the coaches that are in the tournament. Look forward to spending some time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.